Maybe I can start from the petition to the Speaker of Parliament.
Right.
Concern to the minority MPs. I think that this issue is not really positioned position Parliament well. It's not an institution you want to drag in the mud, and you have a situation where persons from the same divide are saying two different things. Either from the minority side, then the majority side are saying a different thing. It is only fair and proper that we get a body to investigate this particular issue so we can get to the bottom of it. We can't leave it hanging over there. Is it true? Is it not true? Is it the case that somebody was giving money? If he was giving money for what? Was he a bribe? Was it not a bribe? Now, what was the motivation? Why would any member of parliament come out in the public and tell Ghanaians that, or the whole world, that they've given him some money, purporting to be coming from one of the nominees?
Okay. Now
the nominees come out and say, I didn't give any money to anybody. Now the chairman of the committee says, I didn't give any money to anybody. The chief whip, who they alleged was the one who even picked the money, who said he didn't collect any money, he didn't give any money to anybody. I think that Parliament will need to purge itself of this particular issue. They are masters of their own game. I am not going to see it more as a political issue. I think it's a governance issue. It's about the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. It has happened to the executive arm before. Measures were taken in the past. It has happened to the judiciary before, not too long ago. We saw the way the Chief Justice and the rest went about it. I think that the Speaker should not slip over the petition. They should quickly put a body in place. I am not too sure if Parliament itself can do it, to the extent that it is leadership of Parliament that is being questioned in this particular issue. If they are going to even have the privileged committee by their own standing, the deputy speaker is supposed to be the chairman of that privileged committee, and she is also being mentioned in this particular issue. And so I'm not too sure if Parliament can do it by themselves, or they can look for an independent body to come and investigate the issue, so that maybe if the constitution
is waded into it,
if the constitution will permit Shraj to do it, I'm not sure what the provisions are. If the constitution will permit them, that also not be bad. But we need to really get to the bottom of it. This is not the first time really that we are hearing allegations about some monies exchanging hands here and there in Parliament. Oftentimes it comes and it's swept under the carpet. Nobody wants to drag it too long. We've had situations of where even bills from executive, before they go to Parliament, somebody will need to go and oil people's palms before it goes through. Whether these are true or not, we don't know. So I think that this is a very good opportunity for Parliament to really look at this issue holistically. If it is the case that nothing of the sort happened and some people are just making up allegations, the necessary sanctions and punishments are given to people, so that we can learn to protect image and reputation of institutions and persons involved. Coming back to the vetting issue, yes. I think that a few things I read I am not too happy with, especially that which has to do with MPP women of Ghana, who has now been nominated as a gender social protection minister. We all in this profession, this job that we do. No human being is perfect, especially public discourse. Sometimes come to a program like this, and you assume you are talking to just your colleagues in the studio. You've forgotten that several people out there are watching you. So you can make a mistake. You can say things more than you really would have wished to. And so when your attention is drawn to it, the normal thing is, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go to that extent. And then
but she fired back a few questions that didn't get the kind of response that you would have. I mean, instance of Mr. Boache Jacko, Mr. Akoto Friye, when they fired back, I mean, the members of the team fired back. But when Otiko fired back, the committee they just left it. Did you get an indication that they didn't want to get in?
You see, the post-train, I guess the post-train, even some members of the majority side on the committee, right, when they talk to them, they are not too happy with the way she went about the issues. More so if you just suppose against the way she responded to the substantive issue about the work-related issue, and the policies, the knowledge base of the whole issue, a bit evasive, a bit lack of understanding of the real issues. And then when it comes to where you have to be a bit cheeky and all that one, you did it with ease. And naturally, it puts everybody in some position. People don't really want to probe further. But I don't think it is in their interest. Maybe, I'm not too sure what she has done in the past, but now she has the opportunity to serve in government as a minister of state. People are going to judge you. People are going to look at you. You have crucified everybody, including the president, the former president, and you think that it is within your right as a citizen to so do, and so you are not going to do, you are not going to apologize. thank God, very soon you take up a ministerial appointment. Let us see how you deliver in your new office. Let's see the reforms and the change that you bring to the office. And then all of us can subject you to the same, scales, the same measurement, and then we analyze issues based on that. For me, this country must move on.
Okay.
We wish everybody all the best of luck in his office. I will never sit anywhere and pray that MPP should fail. Like the former president said, if they fail, Ghana fails. All of us will fail. Today, we just been informed that the Minister of Energy is saying they are going to reduce a tariff that we are paying. Why? Are they going to exclude my house? They will reduce mine as well. And so some money will remain in my pocket. I'm sure very soon the school fees and all those things, free education will start. My kids will also go to school.
You have a lot of hope, don't you?
Very serious hope. My kids will go to school and not pay any money again. And so we are all looking forward for a better Ghana. We are looking forward to building the society that all of us will be proud in. But we should learn to we should tolerate and respect ourselves. All of us are actors in this game. Today it is your turn, tomorrow it's my turn, maybe somebody else's turn, and we should be learning every day. But if we come across though we are not learning, we are just our own old self. That's how we are. That's why I am. Then the same mistakes that others made, for which other they were kicked off or kicked out or whatever it is, we are likely to fall in the same trap. I don't know, but right. I wish her well in a new office. I'm sure the former president is okay. He can live with it. As for insults, they are not written on anybody's face anyway. So we wish her well. The one other question they asked her about the EC chairperson.
Yes.
When she says for job, and I don't know. Maybe you heard the answer she gave about it. That an MP
she didn't support it.
That the MP made allegations. She called for the probe. Go and take the tape and listen to the tape and see if indeed it was the case that she called for a probe.
But then was it not the role of Parliament if, for example, they wanted to ask that question, for them to have gotten the actuality, the tape, listened to it, and then probed further? I think that
I thought that question was asked repeatedly. I think the MP for what went north, Dr. Benisa Adiku, she asked over and over that, listen, we have listened to the tape.
Could have played the tape for her,
Well, is there an issue you really want to drag?
Well,
like I said,
if you were asking the question repeatedly, then you might as well play the tape to settle.
Well, maybe it's an option that the committee may want to consider in future when people want to run away from the things that they said in the past. Maybe you put them to strict proof. This is your voice, listen to your voice, and then you can respond to it. But all said and done, I think that I am happy that the committee has been able to quickly put themselves together at the back of all these allegations over the weekend and all that. I thought that yesterday was going to be a bit difficult for them, but they've just let go. Everybody went back doing his normal work, answering and asking the questions that they know how to do best. We wish them well, let them fill in the vetting quickly, and another wants to hit the ground running. And this government must be in place very quickly.
Absolutely.
I've not heard my brother's name, and I'm still praying for him.
Your brother in power.
My brother in power. I want to know.
Khomeini, 3 ministers were vetted, and that petition issue I'm sure you want to touch on as well. Your general assessment and the way forward for us.
Well, I've been following the issue regarding Parliament's Appointments Committee. I've listened to various calls for public inquiry. Lord Denny once remarked that you cannot build something on nothing.
Yeah.
As of now, we're yet to get anything of evidential value.
Okay.
Because before you proceed to investigate a matter, there must be basis.
Right.
There must be something to hang on.
Right.
And on that basis, you proceed to open up investigation.
I'm sure that's why the speaker wants to
We haven't had that. It's just mere words, it's just allegation. You see, I have my doubts.
Okay.
Haven't listened to the accounts of Mr. Ayariga, haven't listened to Muntaka, haven't listened to chairman of the Appointments Committee of Parliament. I seem to side with the leadership. You see, if you consider the kind of training Ayariga had as a lawyer, and knowing that to make an allegation and to get people to act on that allegation, you must back it with evidence.
Okay.
And having failed so far to provide any evidence, I would not just go with mere.
Say when a blind man says he will stone you, he has his foot on the stone.
You see, Ayariga tells us that 3,000 Ghana cedis were handed to him by his party's leader, and he decided to return the money. And according to him, all other members of the minority committee returned the money when they realized that the monies were intended to influence them.
Right.
into approving the energy minister.
Those are the facts.
Okay, but he had formed an intention to become a whistleblower at the time that he received the money. And knowing that the only basis upon which his story would be credible would be to keep the money, he decided to return the money.
Well, but he has had two other MPs, Okujeto Ablakwa and Suhini, supporting.
None has
and
provided
they haven't even
evidence.
gone further to petition the speaker.
His key witness in this matter has come to deny the story.
Okay, which is Honorable Muntaka.
Okay, you remember prior to the elections, we held a press conference in which we accused then President Mahama of attempting to bribe our Northern Regional Chairman. When we got wind of the allegation, we asked the regional chairman to deposit the money and to keep the deposit slips, wait to take delivery of the car and hand over everything to the leadership of the party, because we were clear in our mind that we wanted to present this information to the Ghanaian people, and that the Ghanaian people would not listen to us if we had no evidence to back those claims. We presented hardcore evidence before the Ghanaian people, even though people still had doubts regarding the claims we made against then President Mahama and most of his allies. But we left nobody in doubt that we had evidence.
So for you, you're saying that until Mahama Yariga presents
provides
evidence,
something of evidential value. If you consider the adversarial nature of our politics, particularly the character involved and the manner his vetting went, the hostilities associated with his vetting, and the fact that the minority,
hostilities? They were asking legitimate questions.
Of course, the minority insisted.
They were asking legitimate questions
because he had raised an issue of corruption against President Mahama and he cited the
they
World
had to
Bank
probe
report.
it. I mean,
of course,
you had to provide evidence.
Demanded that claim be withdrawn and an apology rendered to the folk. He stuck his grounds. He said that no, he wasn't going to do that. So I find it difficult that a nominee will raise issues of allegations of corruption against the former president, which became a subject matter in his vetting. Moments after his vetting, will turn around to bribe members of the minority committee to approve him. It defies logic. And that is the more reason why I find it difficult to accept the Ayariga account. And knowing that Mahama Ayariga is a lawyer of great standing and appreciates how much evidence is as far as allegations are concerned, I find it very, very difficult to accept his account.
Right. Otiko Java finally.
And the third thing, of course,
as well.
you see, it went on well. I had the opportunity to monitor the proceedings.
I think she was too sharp.
I watched Dr. Akutose, I watched Otiko Fisajaba. As far as I'm concerned, the appointments committee should resist the temptation to turn the committee into a messy committee where they would use that to call on people to apologize for things that offends no law, that forms no basis or measure of competence as far as performance of the functions of a minister of state are concerned. The committee should resist that temptation and discharge their duties competently.
What would you say to the calls that those questions are supposed to test the temperament of the candidates?
Well, you see, it is okay to test people's temperament, but it is not right to insist that they must apologize before the committee for actions they believe contravenes no law. Just because you deem those actions as unpalatable, you dislike those actions, you think that they must. Because there are equally things that you have done against the political parties that these people represent that they are uncomfortable with. And they're not demanding of you to retract those things and to apologize. I would not use the kind of words the gender minister used in critiquing the president.
So you agree that she went overboard?
Well, as far it is about individual approach.
Okay.
My approach to how criticism should be done certainly would not be the same approach, Johnny, you would adopt in criticizing a leader. Of course. And she made it very, very clear that the context in which she described the then president as weak, it was in relation to SADA. Now, she being a northerner and knowing the poverty levels in the north, and the fact that SADA was supposed to be a vehicle to accelerate development and to reduce poverty levels, and that fact that the vehicle was turned into create, loot, and share, she thought that the president had led the people.
Do you think that people take advantage of the fact that the president is a magnanimous benefactor to throw jabs at him, whoever is the president? I mean, we saw it happen to President Rawlings, President Kufuor, President Mills, President Mahama. I'm sure President Kufuor himself will be spared.
Kufuor has suffered the drive from opposition.
So, is it a fact that the president, because he's a magnanimous benefactor, may not be willing to walk to court to get anybody to, demand certain remedies?
We've got to understand that the Appointments Committee's job is to vet the president's nominees and make recommendations to Parliament.
Absolutely.
The recommendations could be on the basis of consensus or on the basis of a majority view.
Absolutely.
Okay. They should stick to that. It should not become a platform to settle political scores.
Fred disagrees with you.
When you do that, you are underrating the whole essence of the vetting process. Because those of us who are involved in the political process, like he said, have said things, including those on the minority caucus of the Appointments Committee. They have said things that are divisive, that clearly were insults, that threatened, if you like, the diversity and unity of our country. Nobody called on them to retract and to apologize for those things. When people appear before the committee, they should be tested on the role that they have been assigned by the president. Whatever that was said in the heat of the campaign, there are remedies.
So for example, asking the last time Potiko called her mother, is it a fair question? The last time she called her mother. As far as I'm concerned,
it was absolutely needless.
Well, but you're going to be a minister for gender, children, and social protection.
How does that determine one's performance?
The bond between you and your mother would
because
translate.
you're going into
Doesn't
a public service. Yes. You're going to implement a government policy. The political party has a social contract with the people. The president deems it necessary to put you there to execute that social contract on his behalf. How does that?
Well, if the relationship between you and your mother is not too good, and the umbilical cord doesn't seem to
as far as we're concerned, nothing was established to show that the relationship between the minister designated and not. The fact that I've said that I haven't spoken to my mom for the past 3-4 days, it's not indicative of the fact
and
that.
so the question was not necessary.
As far as I'm concerned.
Fred, you want to have a quick bite before we go to the next issue?
This whole subject about Parliament, I don't want us to reduce it to NDC, NPP. I want us to see it more as a governance issue. I want us to say that this is a state institution that we need to protect, whose image must not drag in the mud. For me, that is the most important thing. I have no evidence from where I sit now that some monies were paid or some monies were received. All of us are running our commentaries based on what the actors involved have come to tell us.
Right.
Whether it is true or not, I am not in the position currently to speak to that. I can only pray and hope that it's not true. All we are all calling for is that some investigations must take place so we can get to the bottom of it. At least the minister who wants his name cleared, he wants to go to his office,
What do you say to the claims that the president should have held on the swearing in on Mr. Boakye Jacko to, for example, have had all these cleared, that's settled before he moved to swear him in?
These are all moral issues to the extent that the president has not contravened any provision of the law that when the issue is against a nominee or a candidate from the vetting, hold on to the issue is clear before you swear a fellow in.
Okay.
You can't hold it against the president. I think he was just doing this because he thinks that there's work that needs to be done.
Absolutely.
So if this issue is going to drag on for the next 3-6 months, should the minister doesn't be sitting in the house, and who will be doing the work for him at the place? So to that extent, I cannot blame him for allowing him to go and start his job. Whilst he's there doing the job, they can do the investigation.
Yeah.
If it comes out that he did something wrong, why not? They can quickly pull him back, and then whatever sanction that he deserves are given to him. Now, the issue my brother raised about nominees should not be held or be compelled to apologize when they appear before committee or this is that. If I even think that some of the questions may even be raised at that level at all. What it does to all of us is that all of us have ambitions and aspirations to get somewhere one day. Those of us who are in politics. And so when you sit back, you sit behind a television set, and you see a nominee appears on a committee, and things is said either in private or in public on public platform are being thrown to him. now to either substantiate or to withdraw or to apologize, it helps all of us. That's what it does to all of us. Hey, one day we don't know where you will be. Now, if they begin to ask you about your past issues, how will you feel about it? And so, depending upon how you say it, you can say it's not necessary. But for me, the temperament issue is very key. You are a minister, you're going to work with people. You have several agents under you. You have several people you're going to work with. There are some that you step on, some that will step on you. Will you have the heart to call them and say, I am sorry if I've offended you, so that you always will have that cordial environment to work in as a minister? That is key. And so if you cannot just let go of things, if you cannot just apologize, and you always think you are right, everybody else is wrong, you are going to have a problem working with a larger group of people. I want to believe that the context in which that question was posed. Exactly. The last one on, when was the last time you called your mommy? Yeah. You may see it to be an unanswered question. Now, if you are going to take care of maybe children, the first thing anybody wants to find out, do you have kids? Yeah. How are your kids?
She has 4.
You understand? No, I'm not talking about her per se.
Yes.
And generally,
that's
the
kids?
first.
What's your relationship with them?
That's right. People want to know if you've been able to do that in your own house. If you've not been able to do that in your own house, and we are going to entrust several kids under your care, how are you going to do it? Okay. And so, it may not sound a very important question, but the answer the fellow was trying to elicit, for all you may know, we live in a very small country. People know too many things. You'll be surprised. Maybe somebody sitting there knows that myself, yes, my mom and myself, we don't even speak. For more than 3-4 years, I don't even talk to my mom. My mom has offended me. I cannot go and forgive her and apologize or whatever. So we don't talk. The next minute, I appear for a committee looking for an opportunity now to go and lead other mothers. Okay. When I cannot apologize to my own mother and let us remain in peace, you think I can? You can go and do. So these things, we don't know the information people have for which that's some of the questions. They may not be relevant to you, but I think it's worth it.
I'm happy that the committee chairman and the leader of the minority have agreed to back the probe. Calls, and I should see that. But someone jokingly told me the other time that if you want to know where your great grandmother attended primary school or nursery, you should get into politics. People will fish it out and find it for you. Page 3 of the Daily Graphic says, I will create wealth for all. Finance Minister Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta yesterday stepped into office as the Minister of Finance with a firm pledge to help create wealth and improve the lives of all Ghanaians. We will create wealth and improve people's lives by ensuring economic freedom as the mainstay of the economy, he said in a release issued in Accra. And he says he's committed to cleaning up public finances, managing enormous debt that we have inherited in order to create the needed fiscal space, invest in critical infrastructure, and empower the private sector to create jobs. That sounds very emphatic, straight to the point. Is it possible?
Very possible. And that has been our commitment to the Ghanaian people. It has been the vision of Akufo-Addo for over 40 years, that it is possible, and indeed it is desirable, to give the Ghanaian a better life. It has been the basis upon which he has waged his presidential campaign since 2007. And if you have followed his campaign right up until his election last year, he has been very, very consistent in his view of economic transformation. He believes that the circumstances of your birth, your origin or religion, should not determine how well you live in this country. And he believes that the resources available that God has blessed us are sufficient for us to be able to create better lives for our people. If we have quality leadership, if we have leadership that is committed to actually living their words. And Akufo-Addo is one such character. He believes that there's the need to embark upon the path of economic industrialization, and that is where the issue of our district factories comes in. We will collaborate with the private sector to make sure that we have districts across the country, because you see, youth unemployment is a major issue in this country. All the political actors are unanimous when it comes to youth unemployment, that there's the need to do something about it. How are we going to do something about it if we cannot expand our economy, if we cannot grow the economy, if we cannot create conditions to enable private sector-led participation? Because we've all agreed that it is only the private sector that has the capacity to create jobs.
Or
but
already,
they need favorable conditions to be able to operate.
For example?
For example, reliable power supply. For 4 years, businesses collapsed because government failed to ensure the provision of power. Okay, most businesses folded up and people lost jobs.
Okay.
Profits depleted, investments lost in the way. Ekufuado believes that we need to have sustained power.
Okay.
All right, and that is the more reason why he put in Boacha Ajaku at the Energy Ministry, because we recognize that at the heart of our energy problem is financial.
We
because
owe
we have
120 billion Ghana cedis. That's about 72%
because
of
we
the
have, we
GDP.
have sufficient generation capacity.
Are the fundamentals okay? 120 billion debt stock, 72% GDP. that's almost equivalent to that.
You can renegotiate all of these, and if you follow the vetting of Osofo Mafo, he indicated that most of these debts can be renegotiated. The payment period can be renegotiated in order to create for us a fiscal space to have more money to be able to invest in critical infrastructure. We would also ensure macroeconomic stability, and those who have followed Kenya Data Bank knows that when it comes to financial discipline, even his opponents would attest to that. We need that. We need to deal decisively with corruption in public service. Corruption eats up a lot of our resources.
Okay. Is that the reason the Vice President is paying surprise visits?
Well, because we want to keep institutions and agencies of state working, and we've got to create that sense that at every material moment, central government is watching.
Okay.
If we put in place the necessary mechanisms to make sure that we reduce corruption significantly, we can save a lot to be able to fulfill.
The National Service folks are not happy with you because they say the erstwhile administration, Fred's his people, they pushed up the allowance that they were supposed to get to 550, and then you came. You refused to pay.
Well, we have said that.
And they say that Agrobe so free and if you
that,
can't do that, what else can you do for them?
We've said that we will do that in March.
Okay.
You see, at the time the increment...
Were they told? They don't know.
At the time the increment was made, the Mahama government had already presented its budget statement for 2016. They had not budgeted for the increment when they presented their last budget in November. They presented the budget in November, and in December decided to
respond to you.
So we're coming up with a new budget statement in March. Of course, we would factor all of these things into...
Is that a promise?
Of course, it's a promise of the government that we would live up to that promise.
Let me act like the committee.
Current budget...
Can you assure us that it will be done in March?
Of course, it will be done in March when we present our new budget. The issue of restoring teacher training allowances, nursing training allowances, all of that will be captured in our maiden budget, which will be presented in March. We're also going to focus more on agri, because we recognize that the northern economy is heavily dependent on agriculture. So there's no way you can reduce poverty levels in the north if you fail to prioritize agriculture. And that is going to be the focus area of the Ekufuado government as far as reducing poverty levels in the north. We would modernize the irrigation systems in the north, make sure that we engage in all year-round farming in order to create wealth for our farmers.
Fred Agbenyo, tough talk by the Minister of Finance and Khomeini here. The jobs you assess at the time you raised the National Service Allowance, you're not even budgeted for it and all that. Your thoughts?
Well, as he was speaking, I was just smiling because I'm seeing a paradise in sight. The ease with which he's presenting it, we are going to modernize agriculture in the northern region, we are going to restore the allowances, we are going to... I'm an optimist.
Okay.
I believe that anything a human mind can think about, you can do it.
Absolutely.
Once you are committed, you want to do it, you can do it. So I have no doubt in my mind that if Nanado's government really wants to do these things, they can do it. You understand? Sometimes the will may be there, you want to do it. But the needed resources to do it simply not available.
Is the minister disadvantaged in this instance?
I'm not too sure. He's in the office. He has moved in there. He has gone through the books. I am happy that he's giving this assurance. It tells me he has inherited a very solid economy.
No,
so it's so
120 billion debt.
No, you see, you can't just be talking about debt without comparing to the assets that we have.
Okay.
incur a lot of debts, but if you have assets that can match up, if you compare the assets to the debt, you will be at a very good position.
Right.
You know, if you go and borrow money to build, for example, a turbo gas, that is not wasteful expenditure at all, because the gas plant is working, it's bringing in money every day. If you borrow money to expand Takoradi Port, to expand Tema Port, if you borrow money to fix our roads, asphalt roads, these are roads that are going to last for the next 15, 20 years. So you're not going to spend any money again on them. So you cannot see it as debt per se, because there are projects and programs that are there to support, you know, the debt. Right. And so it is not really there. So I'm very hopeful that they can do it. You see, anytime I travel toward the northern regions, you know, right from Bonahafo region, or if I go to northern Volta, and I see the vast land lying fallow, and we are not doing anything. And I get close to Paga, then I see vehicles moving into Ghana from Burkina Faso, carrying onions and the rest. I cringe myself. So I ask myself, why do we call ourselves an agriculture country? Anytime you travel to Tema and you go to the port, and you see the number of containers of chicken that are coming every day, I get worried. I see the number of fish that is coming every day. I get worried. Because really, the only way we can create employment for our people is when we start producing these things here locally. You know, and I dare say agriculture sector can employ every human resource. A doctor will be needed on the farm, a nurse will be needed on the farm, a lawyer will be needed on the farm. Some farm, there are schools on the farm, teachers will be needed. And so if we can pay particular attention, commit more resources to it, post-harvest losses that we've suffered over the years, we're going to have, you know, buffer stock facilities to be able to mop up the excesses, you know, have storage facilities to keep them. These are things. So that a young man who wants to go into farming is so confident that if I produce 10 bags of maize this year, there's a ready market for the maize. You have a guaranteed price, so that the market woman doesn't come to the village. I took about 6 months to harvest my maize. Then he comes and say, I'll give you 1 cedi. And because you don't have buyers, you don't have a place to store it, you are compelled to just give it out. Your condition is still the same. If government can put those mechanisms in place, and again, people have done it elsewhere. It is not rocket science.
Of course.
If you go to America, I'm told barely 3% of their population is into agriculture. And yet they're able to produce and feed themselves and feed most part of the world. UK, we are told barely 4%. Our population, over 60% is in agriculture. And yet we cannot feed ourselves alone. And more, let alone create even employment for ourselves. And so, if government wants to do it, I am happy. We want to see how they go about it. I have said that even a first-year student, maybe secondary school, secondary school, first year, second, who have studied some small economics, can tell you all the problems of Ghana, can tell you all the solutions of Ghana. We all know the solutions. Who said we don't know? But the implementation, how do you do it?
We act as if we don't know.
Yes. So we are going to have irrigation. Let's see how we do it. Okay, we are going to fix our roads. We are going to put money into private pockets. And like I said, these things we can do them. It hurts me again when I travel to University of Ghana, Lagos. Look at the number of students who are there. Everybody in the morning will use a place of convenience. Biodata is available today to generate electricity. Biogas, biogas. To generate electricity to take care of that institution. Why do they have to depend on the national grid so that when the lights go off, students cannot even study in a lecture theater? It doesn't make sense to me. Why should Kolebu and the rest not have alternative sort of energy? Why should a Baba be crying that lights have gone off? Where he can have a small solar panel on top of his roof, and that's how he depends on. Whether the national grid is going off or not, he or she is still working. The Baba is working, the other is working. So these are the simple things others have done elsewhere. It is benefiting them. If we can broaden our minds, move out of our comfort zone, you know, take the very bold and difficult decisions. And for me, one of the difficulties government will encounter, and every government, if you are unable to manage, is how to carry the Ghanaian along. How to get everybody to appreciate this.
Is that a difficult task?
It's a very difficult task.
Carry the Ghanaian along.
See, you are doing the right thing, and I'll insist on this nursing training allowance issue. A very good, bold decision that the government took. Indeed, it was a decision NPP administration. In 2008, they wanted to take that decision because it's the best for our country.
That we don't pay them those allowances.
That we remove the allowances and replace the student loan.
Okay.
It is the best for our country, for political expediency. Something that they even proposed in 2008, because they want political power, they went around the country, we will reinstate it. He's telling me by a month they are going to reinstate it. At the time they were living,
the senior minister says it's a very minute portion of
you see, it's losing sight of one thing. At the time they were leaving office in 2009, the total number of students who were in the nursing training college were barely 8,200.
Okay.
We had very few nursing training colleges in this country, barely 25 nursing training colleges. Today, as we speak, over 80-something nursing training colleges. The number of students over there, over 50,000.
Okay.
We are building more hospitals. We are building more clinics all over the country. We need more health professionals. And so if you really want to have more people going in there and getting ready jobs for them, what you want to do as a government is to save the resources and expand the facilities so that when they finish school, they have ready job to do.
Right.
If you say you are going to freeze the money and you are training very few people because you have very few hospitals and your people are dying every day, they cannot access healthcare, what have you achieved? Teacher training college, what were the numbers in those days? How many people were going there? And our social interventions are not necessarily supposed to be permanent interventions.
Okay.
They are interventions, they are mitigating for interventions that you put in place. Once you look for a lasting solution,
Okay.
go and trace the entire history, how the allowances were introduced by Nkrumah's administration, while Bush's administration came in 1969, they abolished it. Judge Rawlings was compelled to reintroduce it.
It was an incentive.
It was an incentive to get people to go, but people were not willing to go.
Yeah.
Now we have got to a point where, when the SS system was introduced,
Yeah.
those of you who remember the first batch committed in 1993,
Yeah.
second batch 1994,
Yeah.
third batch 95, everybody was in the house. We didn't know our fate. Where were we going to university or polytechnic? Right. So one available option
even
became,
in 96, the
even in
universities
96,
went on break.
they went on break. So everybody was running to a teacher training college. The numbers were just escalating. Several students will apply, and then government could not pay the allowance, so they'll give them a quota.
Okay.
So you go to a teacher training college that maybe have the capacity to pick about 700 students. The government will say, because the allowance, pick 200.
Okay.
Then the 500 will go and remain in the house. Okay. So you give up a privileged few, you give that same privileged few an allowance, then the majority will remain home and just be looking to the sky. It doesn't make any economic sense. It doesn't. It is not fairness to build a country that way. But it is the politics we do. Some of the students, when we engage them on these issues, they see the reality of it. Okay. But we are back to square one. They are going to the allowance. My only prayer, let us keep the numbers. We shouldn't use any subtle means to start reducing the numbers because we want to pay an allowance.
Okay.
Pay them. Let as many as those who want to go get that admission to go. Let Ghanaians be trained and come out and work. So for me, my major concern, rally Ghanaians. Okay. If you say you are going to do one village, one district, rally the people. Okay. If you say you are going to build dams in every community, rally the people. Because it will be of no use if you go and build a dam in the villages and in the villages in the north, and all the young people are still running to Accra, and they don't engage in farming, or you go and do those things, they produce so much, they don't get people to come and buy the food, everything is going bad. We are not getting anywhere. Right. So I am sure, I thank God they have the men. The men, very competent. They have the men and the women. Yes. Let me just love before you come here. They are very competent men and women. I'm sure they will sit down, think through all these things, and come up with a very holistic package.
He said the national service thing, you're playing mischief with it.
No, national service, but he knows, but Agba knows, Agba, stop, keep quiet, let me finish. Agba knows that we're going to an election. The budget that we presented were just the first quarter of the year.
But you would admit that provision wasn't made.
That's the first.
Did you make provision?
That's the first quarter of the year. Okay. So definitely, if we announce an allowance, we'll make supplementary budget always sent to Parliament.
So when you announced it, when did you expect it to
If they want to do it, if they want to do it even now, they can do it. Just send a supplementary budget to Parliament. Once they approve it, we implement it.
If we can foot the bill.
So you don't need to wait too much, really.
Budget in January.
Well, Agba,
that's your decision.
As for the teacher training allowances, we've done the costing. All right, at the current, with the current numbers and the last amount paid before the cancellation, some 450 Ghana cedis, it would cost us not up to 300,000 Ghana cedis. Okay. I mean 300 million Ghana cedis. Okay. And that's just 0.01% of our GDP. if we relate it
Okay.
to dubious judgments paid.
Well, we don't want to
Okay.
get. We don't want
In
to
just
get there.
3
Thank you.
years.
Abba.
So leadership. My
one
point is
time,
this.
we don't
My
want to
point
get
is
in
this.
there.
Leadership is about choices.
Okay.
Akufo-Addo has elected
Okay.
to give
wish
our
him
teacher
well.
trainee allowances.
He says he wishes you well.
To enable
He wishes you well.
to concentrate. Then elected
He wishes
to
you
spend
well.
our money
He
to
wishes.
corruption.
He wishes you well. Thank you very much. Let's move on. You wish them well. We wish them well. We wish them well. Thank you. Well, page 15 of the Daily Guide says we have no patrol cars, and Assistant Commissioner Kwesi Ahiakpo of the Ashanti Regional Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, which exceeded its 2016 revenue targeted by 115%, is facing a dearth of office space aside lack of vehicles for patrol duties. ACP Kwesi Ahiakpo Sector Kumana said other operational logistics as well as regional residential accommodation and barracks were also another headache for the division. We expect them to generate money. They in fact exceeded their target, and yet they don't have vehicles. Their office space is in the, and these are the people that generate the monies that we need to do the projects. Are we worried about this?
Yeah, of course, there should be something to keep them working. I think that government should consider their concerns seriously, because the revenue generating institution would want to do things in order to reduce the temptation to engage in acts of corruption. And if they're going through these challenges, to be able to mobilize resources for the state, and the state in turn cannot do something to keep the offices running, then the temptation to want to siphon some of these monies chips in. And so it's important that their concerns are taken on board and addressed immediately.
Fred?
I think that we need to pay attention to this custom issue seriously. Now, when you get close, they tell you they are revenue generating body.
Yeah.
And so they are supposed to have the same conditions as Bank of Ghana workers. But when it comes to their real condition of service, now they are considered as a security agency. I know of some situations that are simply not correct. Persons went for training as custom officer, they came out, even their own uniform, they have to go and buy and sew it themselves.
Right.
The institution couldn't provide uniform for them. You know, several things are simply...
And that's all right.
It's not right. Several things are simply not in place. We can't expect these people to be working the condition that which they work. They're supposed to bring in the money.
Yeah.
And you don't treat them well. We are human beings.
You're tempting them to...
You are tempting them to do things.
To do things.
You take them to the borders, if you go and patrol, sometimes in the night, they go and sleep in the bush and block the access routes.
Yeah.
And they even have weapons with them.
Yeah.
How do you expect them to go and confront some of these smugglers who have sophisticated weapons and stuff like that?
The Chinese
so,
who are doing all manner of
yes,
things.
so we need to pay attention. That's what I'm saying. It is easy to create an institution. It is easy to put a program in place. But the determination and the commitment to really support that institution to work for the benefit of the society is what we'll be lacking. They are not the only people, really. If you get close to the police, there are some problems.
Yeah.
If you get close to the prisons, there are problems. The military, almost everybody.
There seem to be more glaring in the prison service as well.
Yeah, yes, they're bringing the revenue. The money comes through them.
Yeah.
You give them a target and you expect them to meet the target. So give them the conditions that will make them meet the target.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't do that and you expect them to go and conjure the money and give it to go and do your development, naturally will not be happy. And some of them, and give them one-on-one, they'll tell you, oh, you people, why you will go and struggle and look for the money, and you people go and buy big cars and you're running around. You understand? They'll tell you these things in their face. And so I think government should pay attention, look at them.
Daily Statements, page 3, Ghana at 60 committee to forfeit allowances. And members of the Independence Anniversary Planning Committee will be forfeiting any allowances due them. They decided this on January 28th when the committee met. I think that a similar thing happened at the transition table where the committee said they would take lunch, snacks and anything. They would drive out and go and eat and come back. My question is, how can we sustain this? Can we sustain it? Or is it just for political points?
Well,
it's happening under your watch.
It's not political. The president says that we would have a modest celebration.
Okay.
Of course, we cannot say that at 60 we should not celebrate our political independence and how far we have come and where we hope to get to. It is important that we celebrate it, but we also must take cognizance of the conditions in which we find ourselves, that we're not having the best of.
So they won't drink even water.
Well, they won't be paid for what they're going to do.
And I'm asking, for how long can we sustain? Because we have independence in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020.
Well, this is a special one. 60th independence.
But in 2018 they will take.
I don't think that they would. You see, this one is going to be, if you like, exceptional in the sense that we're going to reach 60 on safe miles. So a lot of planning would have to go into it. A lot of activities would have to be carried out across the country and all the districts of our country. So it requires a team of this nature to be able to plan it.
My concern is that if we've had that at a transition table and we're having it now, will the new ministers, for example, expect the official vehicles? Will they take the fuel for it? Will they take per diems when they travel to go and negotiate deals and all of that?
Well, the bottom line is that we are going to have a modest celebration. We're not going to engage in any extravagance. And the committee recognizes that this is the intention of the president.
So they are not taking anything.
And they would want to carry through that intention. And they have met as a committee and have reached the agreement that they would not be taking allowances.
Fred, finally, for you.
You see, I think that we should be very bold with some of these things. I would have wished that the president will come out. There's a directive is given up. Remember, Professor Mesh came out and said, state institutions not give out hampers again during festivities. Because if you go and check the budget of some of the state institutions, how much money they were spending on hampers every year or every celebration, Xmas, Easter, huge amounts of money. So he said, no, we should stop it. Today, they don't do it again. I'm not sure if they find a way to do it. This thing, you are a staffer at the presidency. You are supposed to be running errands at the presidency. As part of your errands, we are going to have 60th anniversary. Go and sit on a committee. Why do you say they should pay you money for sitting on the committee?
It's just like telling the MPs to sit for the vetting.
It's part of their work.
And not expect any allowance. But Honorable Ayariga said they demanded for an allowance, and that brought the data.
That's why I'm saying that we shouldn't just limit it to this committee issue. Now it becomes a bit political play. It's to be something that will cut across. You are a member of parliament. As part of your work, you're supposed to serve on a committee. That is why you are being paid. That's not the case. So how come you go and serve on a committee?
For example, you employ somebody and you pay the person rent allowance.
And then you are now asking for additional sitting allowance. People go to committees, sitting allowance, water allowance, food allowance. It doesn't make sense to me.
we need to go now. Thank you very much. Humaini Akpa, thank you very much. He's with the MPP, and Fred Agbenyo is with the NDC. Brother in government and brother in opposition.
Well, I told him ahead of that.
that you will slay him, and in fact have done that. We'll be right back. I'll return with Moon Sangmo after this.
Champion Willis, hey, that no life is a cycle. No time, no time, no. Probably to school, now me there me pay me cycle. No problem.
I want to give you a little education put together by the SASO research team on how to use the SASO mosquito coil effectively. The SASO mosquito coil is recommended for both outdoors and well-ventilated indoor areas. Before you spray the kitchen, always make sure that food and water are covered properly. For SASO to work effectively, ensure that the windows and doors are closed when spraying. Shake SASO well before you spray. Do not use SASO spray when the gas stove is on. Spray by starting from the top and then to the corners of the room before the middle and the floor. Take out the coil from the box. Gently pull out the coil holder. Press one end of the coil. Hold both ends this way to loosen its firmness. Gently pull it apart. Turn the coil upside down so that the hole in the center of the cake can sit comfortably on the holder. Firmly place the slot on the coil holder and light it. You are safe to sleep.
Sasso, Sasso.
From Total Records.
Sasso, Sasso, fresh and powerful.
Make your baking even better with Blue Band's original new sachet